welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a baby for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're finding the content useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form. In a moment, I'm going to be discussing why it's so difficult for romantic asexuals to live in this highly sexualized world. But before we get into that video, just to let you know, in case you didn't already know, I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome fibromyalgia. I'm only joking. This is my fibromyalgia self-help book, and I'm also author of this Asexual Perspectives, 47 asexual stories, love, life and sex, a celebration of asexual diversity book, and the founder of asexuality.com and the founder of Asexualized Academy. So yes, why is it so difficult for romantic asexuals to live in this highly sexualized world? Well, the problem is, for romantic asexuals in particular, we really struggle a lot of the time because many of us still want a relationship. So whereas many aromantics, those that lack romantic attraction, who also lack sexual attraction, don't actually want a relationship. The majority of them don't, but that's not true of all aromantic asexuals. They're not bothered about relationship usually. They don't really want one. They don't need one, a lot of them. Romantic asexuals are very different. In romantic asexuals, with us, we tend to want and crave a romantic relationship still. This goes with the nature of romance, right? Romance kind of makes you crave in-person contact. It makes you crave lots of communication, lots of kind of having a person, a special someone that's of a romantic nature to you in your life. Whereas if you're aromantic, you know, everyone's as kind of like pretty much as special as each other. Everyone's like that's in your life kind of like really closest friends with you anyway. And I do have closest friends, don't get me wrong. I have two amazing best asexual friends who are absolutely incredible and I adore them to bits, but I still desire strongly a romantic relationship. And obviously when you're trying to get into a romantic relationship or find someone for a romantic relationship, it becomes very difficult in this highly sexualized world, because romantics still crave closeness. A lot of us still crave physical affection. So some asexuals who are romantic really into cuddling, like they really need cuddles. Some of them cuddle just their friends, and others cuddle only inside of relationships. Some do both. So I'm fiercely monogamous. I only cuddle a person if I'm in a relationship with them, or if I'm dating them, or want, you know, doing that type of thing, like dating, met up with them because I'm interested in a relationship with them, you know, or if I'm doing some sort of thing like I'm clubbing, I'm kissing someone in a club, and I really would prefer, you know, like it if it was more, but again, the sex thing always gets in the way. So what's really difficult for a romantic asexual is trying to get that close physical contact and that close bond and romantic nature relationship without the sex. This is why it's so difficult, because in society romance is always paired usually with sex. Sex and romance always go together for most people, right? So heterosexuals obviously can be a romantic heterosexual. They can experience romantic attraction as well as sexual attraction, or they could be aromantic asexual. Sorry, it could be an aromantic sexual. So you can get aromantic asexuals, those that are on the asexual spectrum that lack romantic attraction, lack sexual attraction. And you can get aromantic sexuals, those that lack romantic attraction, but still have sexual attraction, right? So you can get both romantic and non-romantic or aromantic sexuals. So this makes it very difficult, because obviously the aromantic sexuals, the ones that have no romantic attraction but only have sexual attraction, they tend to really need sex but don't need a relationship. The majority of those, they just don't need a relationship, right? The sex is the attraction. They don't feel any romance. They don't feel they need to have that ongoing romantic connection. They still need the sex usually. And for romantic sexuals, which is a large percentage of the population, romance is always usually a prequel to sex. Like if they meet up with you for a date, you start kissing, holding hands, you might feel that's very romantic as an asexual romantic person. But what happens is down the line is they expect, or even in 5 minutes flat, expect you to want to go into bed and have sex with them. Like I love clubbing, right? Even though I'm asexual, I'm extroverted asexual. I love going dancing. I absolutely adore kissing. I would like to find the right asexual guy to be in a romantic relationship with. But I find it very, very difficult because a lot of asexuals are aromantic. There's more aromantics usually than romantic asexuals. And there's usually more female female asexuals than male asexuals. Therefore, there's a high proportion of female aromantic and romantic asexuals to male romantic asexuals. And I'm only attracted to guys. And a lot of the guys that I come across that are romantic are homoromantic. They prefer to be with another guy. So this is some of the struggles that asexuals have that, you know, like who are romantic. Like there's less romantic asexuals. Then obviously it depends what gender you are, what gender you are attracted to. You know, and then you've got the complication of like if more people are homo that you come across, obviously, and you're hetero, then that's difficult for you. But it's very, very difficult, really, for romantic asexuals overall because we live in such a highly sexualized world that romance is always paired with sex. If you see it in the movies, a lot of the time, the movies that are over 12, certificate 12, is always put together. Now, I like the romantic movies that are more for younger audience, like teenager style romance, you know, the ones that are certificate 12, basically, you know, where you have the kissing, the cuddling, but you don't have the sex. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. Absolutely love you. So I really like that. That's the type of relationship I would love to have. You know, is the type of relationship where, you know, I have this romantic relationship and it hasn't got any sexual stuff going on whatsoever. You know, I don't need sexual intercourse. I have no desire for it, no want for it, no need for it. And I kind of think it takes the sweet innocence out of love. You know, I see love and romantic love for me, it's a very, very pure thing. It's a very, very beautiful and wonderful thing, you know, and kind of like sex, I feel kind of makes that a bit more like yucky for me personally. Obviously, I appreciate some people that aren't asexual and they love sex, and I have no problem with that. But I'm talking from my asexual point of view. It's very, very difficult, you know, being in a highly sexualized world where when you get, it seems when you get an adult or get to be in an adult relationship, it's all about sex. You know, the romance leads to sex, the kissing leads to sex, even friendship often leads to sex because they don't just want to really be your friend, they want to do stuff to you sexually, right? So all this in an adult relationship is geared towards having sex, and that's why a lot of the time I don't really like the adult relationship. I like a teenager style relationship with a younger guy 21 years and upwards because I don't like all this sex stuff. Eddie, even the sex leads to more sex. Thank you, Eddie. As always, love to see you on this channel. You really, I love it. Yeah, even I totally agree that sex leads to more sex in general. It does, you know, and once they have a taste for it, I find that they just can't get enough of it usually. And I think that's difficult for asexuals because if any asexuals do want to try sex and they do want to give it a go, I'm not saying they should. I don't think you should if you don't want to do it, right? But if they do try it, I find out what happens is that the partner then expects it once more. It's like, well, you've done it once, you can do it again. You know what I mean? And so I find that very difficult as an asexual person. You know, if any asexual just wants to try out curiosity, there are a few asexuals that do, then a lot of the time that would just break the relationship if they decided they didn't like it or didn't want to do it ever again, you know, which is sad. It's very, very, very sad. So I do agree that usually in a sexual relationship or relationship with a heterosexual, you're expected to have sex. You're expected to have a lot of it, usually frequently. Sometimes it varies. Some got people, guys like it once a week. In my experience, anytime they could have it, really, they would want it. You know what I mean? Even if you're busy doing the washing up. Eddie, I did joke with my girl once about if we are getting one bed or two, like in Leave It to Beaver. Beaver is the name for a female vagina, is it not? I'm not sure about I get that joke, but never mind. But yeah, I just find it really difficult as a romantic asexual because romantic asexuals we really do, some of us particularly tend to really crave being in a relationship. Like I crave kissing. Eddie, no, it's a nickname of a kid from an old TV show. Ah, right, okay, sorry, don't know that one. Sorry, I'm too young. What can I say? But thank you for sharing. Yeah, so I find it very difficult because I really crave kissing. Like a lot of asexuals, they don't need kissing as much as me. They need cuddling usually. But it's like some of my friends that they're like not been cuddled for a long time because they don't cuddle unless they're in a relationship. And so it's kind of like really, really difficult for them because they're not getting their cuddles, they're not getting that human physical closeness because a lot of the time sexuals want sex with it, and they deserve a relationship. Like I deserve a relationship. Just because I'm asexual doesn't mean to say I don't deserve a relationship. Oh, hi, Sam, lovely to see you. Lots of love. Eddie, all the parents in that era had double beds. Oh, right, okay. I still don't get the joke, but it's all right. So yeah, it's really, really, really difficult as a romantic asexual. I was just saying about Sam came at a very appropriate time because I was just saying that some of my friends haven't been cuddled in ages because they don't cuddle outside of relationships. So it's very, very difficult because if you get with a sexual person, they expect basically the cuddling to lead to sex. I crave kissing so much. I really, really want a good snog, as it were. This is not true for many asexuals, I have to say. A lot of asexuals tend to prefer cuddling to kissing, in my experience, and being in asexual groups a lot, running asexual groups, a majority of asexuals are more into cuddling than kissing. I am more into kissing than cuddling, which is kind of weird. Sam, I really want cuddles. Been since 2012, but I need to be with a partner. Oh yeah, it's just so difficult, isn't it, Sam? It's really difficult. And the reason why I was saying is that romantics struggle so much is because romanticism, romantic relationship, usually it's always coupled with a sexual relationship, always. It usually always goes together in society as, like romance and sex is always together. Like romance is always a prequel to sex. And it's really difficult, I crave kissing so much. And the only way I can get my kissing needs met if I'm not in a relationship, it's basically to go clubbing. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, okay, I would prefer to do it inside of a relationship, but seeing as I'm probably going to be single for the next 55,000 years, maybe ever, then, I need my kissing needs met because I do have kissing needs. And I think, like there's someone even in my asexual perspectives book, there's someone in there, I can't remember who it is, but someone in here said they had physical needs despite being asexual, and those are rarely met. And I think that's so true. I think some asexuals that we do have really strong physical needs, whether it's cuddling or kissing, whether it's just a shoulder stroke or something. Do you know what I mean? And I think they can be neglected. They can be neglected if you are in a relationship with a sexual, because you can think, well, that's going to lead to more stuff, so I better not do that. You know what I mean? Stuff I don't want to do. And I get quite a lot of people every so often coming on my channel who are heterosexual, for example, and they got into a relationship with a partner and they're like, oh, that partner doesn't even want to cuddle me or kiss me anymore. They don't want the sex, but they don't want other stuff. And the reason the asexual is not cuddling or kissing you anymore is because if you keep wanting sex and every time that asexual kisses or cuddle you, it leads to sex, they're not going to want to kiss or cuddle you even. It's just going to completely turn them off. So that's why they won't do it, because it's always usually a prequel, you know? I would just love the type of relationship where I could just kiss a guy senseless, but him enjoy it, thoroughly be like in heaven kissing me, and me be in heaven kissing him, and really enjoy it without ever, ever, ever having sex. Because I absolutely can't stand the sex, but I absolutely love kissing. For me, kissing is like being a mountain of fireworks with all the beautiful, pretty lights trickling down. I love kissing so much. Eddie, my girlfriend Sunday night said, "Be right back, gonna shower," and I, as always, asked if I can come. Also, she said no, and I was like, "Oh, I can never have any fun." Eddie, that's naughty. That is a very sexual thing to say, I have to say. Deary me. You need asexual boot camp. You need to be put through your paces as to what an asexual thinks and feels. Yes. If a sexual says that to me, and a sexual, but it's not overly sexual, but it is to an asexual. Because it's like saying, "I want you naked and I want your body." That's what it's basically saying. I've had sexuals say that to me before. It really turns me off from them. I'm like, "Oh, you really don't understand asexuality. I'm out the door. Bye." She knows I'm only joking. She's known you long enough though, Eddie, hasn't she? So yeah. But yeah, but I have, honestly, I've had guys say that to me. It's like, I'm going in the shower, it's like, "Can I come?" And it's like, no. Maybe with my ex, like years ago, obviously I was naked in front of him, so it's a bit different. But I don't like being naked in front of a guy now. Like, I don't know if that'll ever change if I was in a serious committed relationship, if I ever feel any different scenes as I was in the past. But at the moment I'm saying no, because I'm really not comfortable with it, and I certainly wouldn't do it if I was just dating someone or seeing someone for a few months. Do you know what I mean? I just wouldn't do that. And I don't know if I'd do it ever, you know, but it has its advantages, obviously, not worrying about what you look like and not worrying about being naked with a partner. Kind of have its advantages. You can kind of go, like, just come out the shower and dry yourself off without bothering to get changed, and then dry yourself off, you know what I mean, and not being in another room and all that. There are advantages to it, and in terms of, you know, doing stuff like that. But, you know, because I just come out the shower usually with a towel wrapped around me, because I'm gonna live on my own, straight out in front of the mirror doing my hair. But, you know, like, I don't need to bother about having the towel on if I don't want to. Do you know what I mean? Just fling it off, dry, fling it off. And so, yeah, so, you know, it has its advantages, but I don't really like that type of thing. But yeah, so I have had sexual guys say it to me, and I was like, "Oh my God." Like, "No, you're too sexual for me." Bye. But yeah, but I love the I do know you've been together a long time though, so she's probably used to you by now. And she, you know, and obviously you aren't asexual, so, you know, I think an asexual sometimes has to remember that if their partner isn't asexual, they kind of have to think, like, what is their limits and boundaries? What am I okay with the person saying? Because obviously, you know, a heterosexual person is a heterosexual person. They can't, you know, like, if they're not having sex for you, then they're kind of like not going to completely change who they are, because they're still them. Do you know what I mean? So you have to be careful as an asexual to not completely um be totally, like, not understanding. Do you know what I mean? I have to get out the venom as long as I don't go too overboard. I'm more playful. Get out the venom. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. I'm not saying anything to that. But yeah, so I mean, I have kind of a naughty streak to me, but it's not, it's kind of like a teenager naughty streak to me. So I guess I have some grey asexual behavior. Well, I've already said I have some sexual behavior, but I have zero sexual attraction. So some guys could get away with saying some stuff to me because I quite like some stuff, but not that particularly. You know, like, I would like a guy to, like, for example, I'm a romantic asexual, right? And people who are not asexual, people who are sexual, for example, they desire to be desired sexually. They desire someone to want them in a sexual manner, to want their bodies, to really, like, lust after them, to really be into them sexually, right? They desire that really, really strongly. for me, as a hyper romantic asexual and who loves kissing like so much, I don't know where I get that from. I really don't. My parents and all that. But who actually loves kissing so much, you know, for me, I want to be desired highly romantically and in a kissing way. Like if a guy said, I want you now, it would be, I would want him to say that in the context of I want you now badly, as in I want to kiss you badly, not as in I want sex with you badly. So for me, it's very, very difficult because I kind of want some of the traditional things that you would have said to you in a traditional heterosexual relationship, but minus the sexual attraction and minus the sex. So I still want to be desired. I still want a guy to find me attractive and pretty, but I want him to like my personality more than anything. You know, I'd love him to say, God, I fancied so much now because I've just said something really quirky and really kind of like weird and different. He's like, I really, really want to snog you now because you're so different. Come here. Mwah. Do you know what I mean? That's the type of thing I want. I want the excitement and the passion without the sex. Eddie Benham, as in I was very oversexual. That's for Benham. Oh, right. Yeah. A poison to asexuals, isn't it? I guess. Well, some asexuals don't mind having sex. I have to say that some don't mind. I used to have it in the past before I realised I was asexual. Well, a few years before I realised I was asexual. You know, so it's, you know, so I've kind of done all that before. It's not like I couldn't really do that again if I wanted to, and everything was fine, and you know, but I just don't want that again, you know. But I really strongly desire to be desired, but in the no sex way, but quite a lot of other ways. And I think that's really difficult, you know. I feel like I could only ever be with an asexual guy who would understand that. But having said that, it's more likely to be a sexual guy that would kind of like say that type of language and feel that type of way in a lot of senses. So I feel I'm a bit stuck usually like that, you know. But I find I'm a lot more passionate than a lot of sexuals are, because a lot of sexuals, obviously, they just want the sex. They really don't understand what passion is. You know, they're very geared towards like, you know, penile vaginal sex, if you know what I mean. And they don't really express themselves. I mean, even asexuals are a lot more passionate in terms of like intelligence, in terms of like passionate about hobbies and interests. So you can have a type of passion within a relationship that's not based on sex at all, you know. And it's very, 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 very attractive. Like I said, I mean, it would be amazing if a guy was like so into kissing me just because I was different, because my personality is quirky, because he just loves my smile or something like that. Do you know what I mean? That type of thing. And you know, I can't be with someone who doesn't strongly desire to want to have physical closeness of the no sexual intercourse type, because I want to be desired by a guy. I want to be wanted by a guy, even in a physical kissing sense, but not in the lower body sex sense. So it's very, very difficult, I think, if you're romantic asexual. You crave all the closeness, you crave all the affection, but you don't want the sex that usually goes with that. And unfortunately, in the hugely sexualized society we live in, they don't usually separate these things. Like asexuals can separate the romantic attraction from the sexual attraction. We can even separate the arousal from the sexual attraction. We can separate the sexual desire from the sexual attraction, whereas sexuals usually just tend to clump it all together without even realizing there's differences, you know. And when you're on dating sites, so when I'm on like sexual dating sites, you know, that all they're interested in really is not getting to know the person. They're literally just interested in having sex. And it just drives you absolutely insane, because it's like because we're asexual, we can't have a relationship. We're not entitled to one because we need to have sex in order to have one, which is a load of rubbish. But that's kind of the way it makes you feel. It makes you feel that if you're not into hooking up, if you're not into having sex, then there's no point in you being on these sites or in these groups. But how else are you meant to find asexuals? You can find them obviously in asexual groups, on asexual dating sites. But I find a lot of the asexuals that I speak to, they live, you know, a lot of the asexuals that are even kind of like the attraction I would have, they're in other countries. To me, the most attractive guys are foreign guys. and I live in the UK. I'm not really that attracted to British guys. I don't get attracted to guys with beards, for example, usually. You know, if it's a really minimal facial hair, maybe, but I really don't get attracted to British guys that much. And I live in the UK, and I look, for example, on ASAP, and I look at the British guys on there, and to me, they're really not good looking in terms of aesthetic of what I would be attracted to. They'd be good looking for someone else, obviously, someone who loves bearded guys, which quite a lot of people do apparently. Someone who likes, you know, like a certain type of look, they'll be fine for. But for me, it's no good. It's like I was talking to someone on Asexuality, which is a dating site for asexuals recently. And you know, it's like it's very difficult because he has a beard. And I said that I'm not aesthetically attracted to guys with beards, you know, and he said, oh, I you know, I have a beard because I said I like baby faces. Sam, to beards. Exactly, Sam, you know. And I said I said that I like baby face guys. I like really young looking baby face guys. And he's going, oh, I have a beard to cover up my baby face, and it's even longer at the moment. And I'm like, and I was honest and said, well, I really can't be attracted to a guy who has a bush on his face. I mean, I did last year actually kiss an Indian guy that had a bit of a facial hair, like here. Was it mustache or beard? I can't remember. I think it was a little bit of a beard. I can't remember. It was some facial hair, which is very, very strange for me because I don't usually do that. But obviously, I'm highly attracted to Indian guys, and I just felt the kissing chemistry with him. I wasn't aroused, but I felt the kissing chemistry. So yeah, so I it was an interesting experience for me because I'd never done that before. I'm like, oh, I've never kissed someone with this much facial hair before. This is interesting. But after a while, I just kind of like got more used to it. But you know, so I don't know if it was a foreign guy. If I make allowances for these people, but not really bushy beard, I can't really be attracted. The more facial hair they have, the less attraction I have towards them, you know. But obviously, I am aware that some foreign guys could have like some facial hair. But I think because I'm really much more attracted to foreign guys, then probably it wouldn't be so much of a problem to me. But I really do prefer like the fresh faced. And if someone's got a really long beard, it's no good for me, you know. And so anyway, this guy stopped talking to me now. But it's a shame. He seemed quite nice in some ways, but he stopped talking to me about 11 months ago as well. So it's kind of like, you know, when someone comes in your life, goes out of it again. I don't really like those type of people that kind of like come in your life, go out of it, come in again. It's like, well, do you know what I mean? But obviously, you know, you never know. Some people do have to go off because they have problems and issues of their own. I mean, one of my best friends, actually, not Sam, I'm talking about someone else. They went off the site and came back on it, and we talked again, and we've been friends ever since. So, you know, some people do have their own issues going on, their own problems going on. They do need to go away sometimes, out of the sites, or out, you know, have their own life, deal with themselves, and then come back. So I do, you know, so I thought maybe that's what the guy needed to do, you know, maybe it was just like that. And he's like, oh, I haven't been on the site for ages. And we talked quite a bit, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, I do get more attracted to foreign guys. I can't lie about it. And I do get, you know, like, but if a guy was British and he was really young looking, you know, like baby face, and not to the point where he looked like a teenager, because that's a bit gross. Because there are some guys that I've seen in their late 20s, early 30s that do look like really, like, you know, but you know, they need to really try and look about 21 ideally, because I'm attracted to 21-year-olds and up really. But you know, but I just need a younger looking guy, and I was honest, and I think that's what you've got to do with dating. You've got to be absolutely honest, you know, like even though it's difficult. Sam, no, Eddie, I have a beard only because I cannot find my buzzer and its charger. Sam had got a few of them, but it's repeatable, not one off. Yeah, but Eddie, all you have to do is just use a razor. I shave my arms and legs every single day in the shower. So for me, there's no excuse for a guy not to shave, you know? Not beards, people in out. I'm just reading bits of your message, Sam. It's, had got a few of them. Oh, people in out. I think I'm reading these messages wrong. I think I'll just let you and Eddie chat between you. Oh dear. I'm having a funny 5 minutes. Sorry. I'm reading the chat, people, and when I'm reading the chat, I think I'm not quite reading it right because I'm trying to talk and concentrate on that at the same time. But anyway, what I was saying is that Eddie said about the razors dull too fast and I cut myself. Having problems with the net. Oh, thanks, Sam. Yeah, well, the razors dull too fast and I cut myself. Yeah, I've got I especially train in it. People in and out of my life repeatedly. Oh, you've had problems with people coming in and out of your life repeatedly. Yeah, it's a nightmare. But yeah, I mean, Eddie, like I'm a pro at, I shave my legs, shave my arms, and if your girl doesn't mind a bit, it's fine. But I want a guy who'll be shaving regularly. I just do, I need him to be shaving. I need him to want to shave. I need him a guy who doesn't have a beard, basically, who wants to shave. Because if you try and get with someone who's sometimes got a beard and sometimes not, then he's just not going to bother when he doesn't feel he needs to. When he wants to have a beard, will have a beard. When he doesn't, and you don't want to change a person. It's better if you get with someone who's suitable for you in the first place. No, she hates beards. Well, just shave it off then. Come on, Eddie. Be the man we need you to be. Get some razors and practice so you don't cut yourself. And put lots of shaving foam or shaving gel that it stops you cutting yourself. I get razors all the time. I mean, my razors last quite a bit, but I do cut myself sometimes. It's a nightmare because I've got a fear of the BLOOD word. But I don't like beards on guys because the reason I don't like beards is because I just don't like them. I don't like the aesthetic look of them. It's also years ago, because I've been worked in retail for years. Years ago, it was known that someone with a beard used to be classed as less trustworthy, and it was a barrier between you and that person. It's not like that in retail sales now. There's tons of people with beards. All of a sudden, a few years ago, several years ago now, 2012, I think it was, people started getting beards around that time, 2011, 2012, I think it was. So that's quite a long time ago now. It seems like yesterday. And, and then beards took off. It's like everyone's got a beard now. Still seems to be the trend, right? It still seems to be the norm. But I don't like beards. And I was always taught as a salesperson that that beards it makes you less trustworthy if you've got a beard, and it's a barrier between you and the person you're talking to for the sales process. But there seems to be a lot of things that have changed over the years. But personally, for me, I don't like beards. It's in between me and the person I want to kiss. It's no good for kissing. If I don't want to kiss a guy, I guess it doesn't matter so much. But still, aesthetically, I don't find his face as attractive with a beard. It's like having a bush stuck on there, which is what I said to the guy in Asexuality, which probably why he's not talking to me again, because I am kind of blunt. And I appreciate that not many guys would probably like me saying that, but it's just like, it's true, isn't it? Who wants to kiss a bush? I mean, I just don't want to kiss a bush. But if someone's not into kissing and they don't really care about aesthetics, it ain't going to matter. But I think I shave my legs and arms every day in the shower. It takes a lot for me to do that every single day. But I do it, so a guy can do it as well. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there might be, the only time I would never do it is if I actually hadn't had a shower or something that day, which I usually have it every single day without fail. If I'm really, really poorly and ill or something, I might not. But usually, I'm in the shower every day. My mum thinks I'm crazy. She's like, why do you shave your arms, Sandra, in the shower every day? I'm like, because I like it. I don't like stubble. I hate stubble. I like baby soft skin. That includes on myself. I don't, and my hair grows back so quickly. It by the end of the day, if I've had a shower in the morning, by the end of the day, it's like stubbly again. So I'm like, I got to shave. So I think when there's so many different things into the equation, that of like what you like and what you don't like. Like some people who are asexual don't care about aesthetics. Well, they say they don't. They couldn't care, but I mean. I've had people say I don't really care what type of asexual I get, and then when you talk to them, they find out actually they don't want this type of asexual, they don't want that type of asexual. The person needs to like this, the person needs to want marriage, the person needs to move in with them. I'm like, well, you actually do like a certain type of asexual. You like asexual with certain types of traits. So some people, they just don't really think about what they want. They don't consider everything. But it's like, if you've got aesthetic attraction, and aesthetic attraction is a big part of a relationship for you, which it is for me. I can't kiss a guy I'm not aesthetically attracted to. I need kissing in a relationship. It's a physical need I have, right? So I can't be with someone who I don't find aesthetically attractive because I wouldn't want to kiss them. And kissing is my physical intimacy. So, like for sexuals, their intimacy is usually sex a lot of the time. Their physical intimacy, I'm talking about, rather emotional and mental. Their physical intimacy is usually sex. Mine, well, that's the end result they want. Mine ends with kissing. Do you see what I'm saying? That's my physicality. With some asexuals, their intimacy really is cuddling. With the other asexuals, their intimacy is just a stroke on the shoulder. They don't even want any more than that, you know? So we've all got levels of difficult physical intimacy that we like and we don't like. And obviously, if you're a romantic asexual who really desires and craves to be in a romantic relationship, you've also got to deal with all the nuances of different people's asexuality, you know? Different people's physicality of what they like and what they don't like, you know, like obviously there's a lot more introverts in the asexual community than the extroverts. I think I didn't really realize a few years ago there's a lot more extroverts in the world than introverts. However, I was thinking today, I seem to be quite comfortable staying in a lot, because I would say I've always said I'm an extrovert with introvert tendencies, and I feel that for me, like, not going out all the time doesn't really bother me that much. I miss my dancing. I want to go out dancing and clubbing. But, you know, like today it was busier on the roads. There was loads of cars coming back again. And I'm like, actually, I think it was nicer road when there was all these cars everywhere. I mean, I want things to get back to normal, because I think it'd be good, obviously, for people's lives and everything. But also, you know, it's kind of like I actually spend a lot of time by myself, a lot of time indoors working on various things I like to do, spending time with myself as well. So for me, although I'm extrovert, I have got quite a lot of introvert tendencies. One of my friends was talking to on the phone, and they said they find it so difficult because they can't go out and do the things they would usually do. Now, as an extrovert, usually you would want to be going out a lot and doing stuff all the time. That's kind of an extrovert tendency, right? But with me, I'm like, I'm okay at the moment. You know, I'm Skyped to my best friend, Sam, who's in the chat, and that was amazing. If I wasn't doing that, it'd be different, because I wouldn't have much contact with the outside world that much, you know. But because I'm doing that, you know, and that's more than I was actually doing before, it's really incredible, you know. And so for me, I feel less isolated actually than I used to do, which is kind of like really strange, but it's true. And you know, like I saw the cast today and I'm like, oh wow, this is a bit strange. But I was saying that you know, when you're looking for someone for a relationship, there are a lot of introverts. It seems a lot of people in the world are introverted, or they say they are, but actually when I look at them, I'm like, some of my introverted friends, they go out more than me. They need to go out more than me. And I'm like, ah, or they miss going out more than I do. And I'm like, okay. Maybe they've got some extrovert tendencies. Maybe they're introverted for some extrovert tendencies and don't realize it, you know, whereas I'm extroverted with some introverted tendencies. So, you know, I can be quite happy indoors quite a lot, you know. But you know, usually I have to get out of my home every, say, 3 days as ideal. But I mean, the only thing I'm going out for at the moment really is food shopping. But I went for a walk on the quayside the other day. Well, I didn't go for a walk. I walked and sat down for an hour and a half, but I was doing something at the same time because I get bored really easily. So I can't just sit there and just look at water. I have to be doing something, do a live stream at the same time. So we all have these different needs, and why I'm telling you all this other stuff as well is quite relevant in the sense that, you know, we've all got different personalities. Some of us are introverted but have extroverted tendencies. Some of us are extroverted with introverted tendencies. Some of us are ambivert, which is in the middle, like part, you know, in the middle between being extrovert and introvert. So kind of we're equally introverted and extroverted. So we're kind of in the middle. And I have known that asexuals, well, I knew one asexual particularly, and he was very introverted, but when he was going to find the love of his life, which I've told you before, he's now married to her, he spent 3 months going around all the asexual meetups in the UK that he could possibly go to until he found the love of his life. And he did a lot more extroverted things. He told me he was naturally an introvert, but he pushed himself and did some very far out stuff that even I wouldn't do usually as an extrovert, you know? And so he really kind of changed himself a lot in order to get the girl of his dreams. And sometimes you have to kind of get out of your comfort zone. A lot of the time, you know, that what we want in life is outside our comfort zone. So it might be that I end up with a guy who's not actually asexual, but I would still need a guy who could live without sex, which would be very, very difficult. Because I mean, like, you know, even a lot of the asexual guys seem to end up I talk to end up like talking about sexual stuff with me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, okay, pass on that. But and so it becomes very difficult, very, very difficult, and like having a long sustainable relationship is very different to just having a casual thing. Long sustainable relationship, you've got to have huge commitment from the person. You've got to be committed to yourself, so it's difficult for asexuals, because you've got to get, if you're going to be thinking about a sexual person being your partner, they've got to want to commit without the sex. If you are sex repulsed and you're monogamous, and they are, because you deserve the same monogamy as a sexual person does. But it's up to the sexual person whether they choose to give up sex for you or not. Some of them can't give up sex. Thanks for the thumbs up. Some of them can't give up sex, and we shouldn't expect that every sexual can give up sex for us. Because if that's their innate need, if that's what they really, really want, then they really need and want that. But it's just like, it's bad for us if we're already in a relationship with that person. That's why it's absolutely critical and essential that we tell someone very soon that we're asexual, that we don't like sex. If you don't want to use the word asexual, that's fine, but you need to say, I don't like sex. You need to tell them, because it's not fair else. Obviously, if you're already in a relationship with a sexual, you're already married to them, then, ideally, you'd want the sexual to be able to either give up sex for you or to be able to do other sexual things with you. But then, if you are an asexual person that doesn't like doing sexual things, and your partner really, really wants sex and you don't, then you're probably going to have to split up, even if you're married, if you can't work it out. Because at the end of the day, there's no point in staying together if you're completely physically incompatible. Like some asexuals, they're okay with polyamory. They're okay with still being in a relationship with a sexual person and the sexual getting their needs met elsewhere, right? From my point of view, I personally think that an asexual person is much entitled to a monogamous relationship as a sexual person is. But obviously, if the sexual person really needs sex, that's a relationship need, then we have to respect that also. So it becomes very complicated, difficult. Like if a sexual really wants sex and asexual is really sex repulsed, that's not going to work out, to be perfectly honest. You're not going to be in a harmonious relationship. It's going to be no good. It's going to be very difficult for both of you. And you'd likely need to split and go your separate ways so the asexual person can find someone who loves them without sex. What I hate is when I see a asexual person trapped in a sexual relationship where the sexual thinks that the asexual is at fault. The asexual is not at fault for not wanting sex. Just like the sexual person might want and need sex, the asexual doesn't. The asexual is much as entitled to a relationship without sex as the sexual is with sex. So, I've had a guy, for example, in private message some time ago saying he's been with his wife years. He hasn't had sex for 12 years, so he's been faithful, but now he's not going to be. And he's placing all the blame on the asexual, like there's something wrong with her and she's got a disorder. It's like there's nothing wrong with the asexual person. It's just she doesn't want sex. So a sexual person doesn't have any right to start saying there's something wrong with an asexual mentally or physically if they don't want sex. It's perfectly normal for an asexual not to want sex because we don't experience sexual attraction. It's better that the sexual person says, look, I'm really, really sorry. I can't be with you. However devastating it is to the asexual person, if the asexual person is not into polyamory and the sexual person really, really feels they can't be in the relationship without sex, then it's better if there's two people split up because it's unfair to both people, right? Because the asexual cannot be in a loving, happy, healthy home environment if they live together, knowing that the sexual person is miserable because they want sex and is making that asexual miserable. And similarly, it's absolutely heartbreaking for an asexual person to be in a relationship with a sexual and think, why can't this person love me without sex? And I wish they could. I wish every sexual person could love asexuals without sex. Sadly, it's not the reality. It's not the case. It's not the case. I'd be lying to you if it was. There are some sexuals that really need sex, but what is not on and what is not acceptable is when the sexual places the problem with the asexual as much to say it's their fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's different needs, right? What's problematic is when someone blames the other person, when the sexual blames the asexual. It's very bad because it can end up being abusive towards an asexual person. They just should walk away saying, I really respect you, I really love you, I really care about you, but I cannot live without sex, if that's how they feel. And say, I'm going to have to split up because I don't want to be unfaithful to you, but I feel I need this and I don't want to put you through that, something you don't need. And besides, let them free to find an asexual person to be with, you know? Whatever an asexual person is in a relationship with a sexual person, we are not able to be free to possibly meet an asexual person and fall in love and be in a relationship. You have to understand that. If you're trapped in a relationship with a sexual and they want sex and you don't want it and you're very miserable, you need to get out of that relationship because there's still a chance you could meet someone. Have love without sex. Sam, I'm always open about being ace and having no interest in sex. And you're very monogamous here. Yes, I think you're amazing. That's why both need to be honest about what they want and are willing to do. Exactly. Where it's difficult is when they've already got into a relationship with each other. But I mean, I think that's the problem with the world at large. Like with all the dating scene, people aren't honest enough. You know, it's like on mingle2.com when I've written out my whole list of things I do and do not like in a relationship. So like, oh, that's a lot of stuff you don't like. I'm like, yeah, it is. You know, it's like, deal with it, you know, like do one if you're not interested. But I've had some guys on there and they're just like, you know, like one guy the other day, I told him I don't have sex. He said, so when do you have sex now? I said, I've told you I don't have sex. I don't do things I don't like. End of conversation. And then I blocked him the next day, you know? And it's like, he was 20 years old and foreign looking. And it was like, you know, have you not heard what I've just been saying? I said, you know, he's like, oh, when did you find out that you're asexual? So I told him. And then he's like, oh, when do you have sex now? I'm like, I don't. Like, I've already told you I don't and I'm not interested in that, you know? And it's very, very important that we're all honest and open. Like a lot of sexuals, they brag about sex, they talk about sex, guys talk about their dick and stuff. It's disgusting on dating sites and how big it is. It's like, really, if I had a big one in me, I'd crack. Do you know what I mean? It's disgusting. God knows what women really wants a big one anyway. I don't understand that. I've never understood that. It's just disgusting. But you know, in stupid photographs. But it's kind of like, it's just so difficult, you know. And but it's like sexuals brag about sex. It's highly sexualized world, but they don't have open and honest conversations about it. They don't say when they meet someone like, I like sex 4 times a day, or I like sex 3 times a week. They just don't speak about it. So whenever people get into a relationship, it's not until they're in it that they actually find out what's expected is different usually to the other person, even in heterosexual to heterosexual relationships, you know. Sam, but I have also told people I don't do sex and they were fine with it, and then they were really shitty about it when I didn't change my mind. Yeah, I agree, Sam, that it's really bad. Like, no sexual people should be saying they're fine without sex and then like expect the asexual to change their mind. It's not a mind thing. It's like, it's what we feel and believe. Do you know what I mean? It's what we are. The sex repulsed asexuals are sex repulsed. So that's like asking someone who's got a fear of something to go and do it. You know, and it's like, but you know, a fear is a fear, isn't it? But asexuality is not a fear of sex. Asexuality is like the fact that you lack sexual attraction, and if you lack sexual attraction, then you don't naturally get the need, urge, you want for part of sexual intercourse. If you don't want something, you don't crave it, you don't need it, you don't have to have it. Why would you? Eddie, they think they can fix you. Yeah. Sexuals do think they can fix asexuals. And that's a big, big problem. You know, like they do think they can fix asexual. It's disgusting. You know, there's not a problem with us. We're not diseased, we're not ill, we're not sick, we haven't got something wrong with us. Many of us could have sex if we really wanted to. We've got working tackle down there, but we don't want to. And I have to remind people, you know, that if a sexual person is gonna want to have sex with an asexual who's told them time and time again, the asexual said, I don't want sex, I'm not into it, and they try and push that, it's basically trying to rape them. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's disgusting. So sexuals need to stop doing that, you know? If you can't live without sex, don't be with an asexual person who can't or doesn't want sex. You know, that's not true for all asexuals. Some asexuals are having sex. They're in relationships with sexuals. They're married to sexuals. They have sexual relationships with sexuals. I used to have a sexual relationship, despite being asexual years ago. I didn't realize I was asexual at the time. And I was kind of doing it because I thought I had to as part of a normal relationship, you know, but I haven't been able to do it since. Like 2011, I just can't do it anymore. I physically can't bring myself to do it. Like, and obviously my mind just doesn't want to. Even the most hot looking guys, the most aesthetically beautiful looking guys that loads of women would probably want to go for sexually is not me. When I look at a guy, I would think that sex would spoil him, if you know what I mean. Like, I think sex spoils people. When I look at people, because I'm asexual, I look at people, I'm thinking, but you're so sweet and innocent looking. Why would you want sex to kind of like, you know, like kind of like make you, do you know what I mean? It's very weird to describe, but it's like, it's almost like the sex makes them really, really yucky. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like the sex makes them, I don't know, it makes them not sweet and innocent anymore. It's like you're a sweet and innocent like guy, and then you do that, and it's just like disgusting to me as someone who doesn't like it personally, you know? And it's like when I see people that are women that are pregnant, I'm like, oh my god, your husband did that to you. And it kind of feels like he's committed a crime. It's like, oh, obviously some asexuals want kids, I don't. But it's kind of like, oh, you had to have sex to get that. Oh, that's so yuck. I mean, it's like, I don't want to know that you've had sex, but you've got the proof that you've had it there, unless you've had it some other way, you know? And it's kind of like gross. It's like, I don't want to know about other people having sex, but I know because you've just got this thing inside your body that you're parading around. Eddie, I'm 42. I feel my drive dying every day, but I still go out Twitch and the jeans from time to time, but I don't even want to see myself naked. See, I don't mind seeing myself naked. I'm quite happy to see myself naked. I've trained myself very well to enjoy seeing myself naked. I probably enjoy seeing myself naked more than I've ever enjoyed seeing myself naked before, because I didn't used to like it that much. But yes, I'm fine with seeing myself naked. I like my body. It's the only female body I actually like, because I don't like female bodies. But yeah, so I don't mind seeing myself naked. I quite like that. It's nice. And it's very good for self-esteem and self-worth, I find, in the mirror, specifically when I'm drying my hair usually. Which is why I said it's a lot easier, really, if you want to be naked in front of your partner, if they live with you or stay in the same room. Sam, 42, the answer to life, the universe and everything. 42. Sam, me and you aren't. Yeah. I got 21 mindset. I wouldn't know about stuff like that. I'm half the age. Till the blow up the planet for a highway. It's a sci-fi thing, don't worry. Oh, right, okay. Oh, bless you. Sorry. But yeah, so I just find like, yeah, I find that sex kind of like, I like the young teenager style relationship there. I see it on TV, you know, where that, you know, like, and I watch it a lot of dance movies, like step up movies there. I mean, there are some kind of more sexual stuff in dancing though. There's kind of a bit more boobs flying around in some scenes. But, you know, they don't actually have the sex usually, but some of them have sex but imply it. They do. Some of them do. They have, you know, scenes where, you know, they're gonna have sex but you don't actually see it. So there is sex in some of them. But you know, I like it when there's like just a romantic movie, like there's a film called A Modern Cinderella Story, right? And in that film they only ever want each other in a kissing way and a romantic way, and it's like throughout the whole film she really wants to be the guy, but obviously, because so it's a modern Cinderella, you know, the story of Cinderella, and basically, you know, the guy is really popular at school, and he gets this girl that isn't that nice, and the nicer girl, obviously, she's like scrubbing the diner or whatever for her mum and being in more clothes that don't look that great, and then she goes to the ball, obviously, and she meets this guy. She's all dressed up in her ballroom, outfit, and the guy falls in love with her, but then his ego gets in the way because he's meant to be doing all this sport, and in the end he just gives the horrible girl up, and he gives the sport up because he's not really into it. It's what his dad wanted for him, and he gets a girl and he snogs her, and it's like, yay! And she's wearing nice dresses and stuff to the ball. And it's just like, I like that type of thing, you know. I think for me as an asexual person, I think sex spoils people. I'm like, why would you want to do that? Why don't you just want to be the young teenager person that you're always born to be? Why don't you just want to have fun with your life and chat till the earliest of the morning? Do you remember that, when you had those type of relationships where you just sit down, you know, even as a real small kid, and you would just have like your person there with you, and you just like watch the moon at night out of the window, and you would just like make dens and stuff, like make tents in the home, and you just like eat out and midnight feast in your own home and buy sweets and chocolate and crisps or whatever, and just have nice food, and you'd just be talking like anything and everything, and you don't have any fears or worries. You don't have to like keep secrets from the other person. You know, you can just literally be in the moment with them and chat about things and say, yeah, I like doing this, I like doing that. You can get excited over TV programs that are like kiddie programs. You can get like, you know, really chatting away about just silly things and just laughing and joking. That's the type of relationship I want and like, you know, but all this sweet, innocent fun between two human beings. With me, obviously, I like a guy, you know, and I like, you know, like a teenager style relationship where the girl's sitting in between the guy's legs and he's got his arms around her, and you know, like they're very much going out on dates with each other, going to the cinema, going to theme parks and zoos and aquariums, and they're just sitting watching movies together and chatting, and you know, they're doing intelligent stuff, talking about intelligent stuff like the world, planet, universe. That's the type of relationship I want. That's beautiful. But when I see like these guys on dating sites, the sexual dating sites, and they're just like, oh, my dick's this big, it's like, why would I want that? I'm not interested in that, you know? It's like probably being in like 55,000 women anyway, you know? And it's just like, and they've got nothing to talk about a lot of the time. A lot of them are like, you know, in the sexual dating groups on Facebook, a lot of them are just like going down drinking down the pub. It's like there's no intelligence. Like my best female friend who's found a really nice guy for her now, for years she was trying to search for the right guy. She's not asexual at all. She's the opposite. But you know, she said that a lot of them lack intelligence. You know, she wants someone that will actually have intelligent conversation with her, not just have sex with her because she's just boring. Do you know what I mean? Someone's got a brain, not someone who just wants to sit in a pub drinking their life away all the time. It's someone you can have an intelligent conversation with. And I think that's really important, you know? Like a guy has got to have stuff going for him for me to be interested, you know what I mean? If all he's doing is just sat at home watching TV and playing video games, I know a lot of asexuals like watching TV and playing video games, but really that wouldn't be intelligent enough for me. It wouldn't be riveting enough. Like I get bored very easily anyway. I've always been get bored very easily, and so like I like to be doing something all the time, and I like, you know, to be doing something that I find interesting, and I like to be doing something that I have in common with the person. Like I don't play video games, and I don't watch TV, but having said that, my ex used to play video games all the time, but we didn't live together. So you know, if the guy is really into video games, if he wants to go home and do that by himself, that's fine. But obviously a lot of asexuals, again, they're into video games. It's very important to have a gamer in their life because it's a big part of their life. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind playing car games occasionally, they're okay. So do you know what I mean? You've got all these variables. If you're a romantic asexual that really wants to be in a relationship, but you know, you've got all these variables of hobbies and interests, especially if we don't have sex. We have to like be thinking of other things. What? Right. So, what have I missed in the chat? Oh, right. I think Eddie's talking about Hitchhiker's Galaxy to the World. Sam, I'm not much into romantic films, making me long for my own. Laugh out loud. Eddie's into horror. Sam's into fantasy and sci-fi, definitely not so horror-y, but I watch them from time to time. I don't like horror movies at all. Eddie's 80s horror. Every time a sex scene happens, you know they are next to die. Every time a sex scene happens, you know they're about to die. Yes, that's probably what sums up my opinion of me personally having sex. No. A good reason never to have sex there, Eddie. Exactly, yeah. Because they're ruled by the pee-pee. Nothing can defeat the PP. I love intellectual conversations and talking about life in the universe, says Sam. Yeah, I do love intellectual conversation talking about the life and universe. It's very, very important. It's like me and my best friend Sam, we were Skyping for over 10 hours. And it's like, that was only Monday night actually, 6 ages ago now. And we were just talking about anything, and the time just really flies by. Like, you wouldn't know that 10 hours has gone by. It just goes by so quickly. It's like we've got so much to say. I can't believe that every time we talk, we've got like new stuff to say. Even though we're in a lockdown at the moment in May 2020 when I'm filming this, it's kind of like, even though we're in lockdown, we've got so much to say to each other, like constantly different stuff. It's really, really interesting. I find it very, very intellectually stimulating. Eddie, as I said, till this relationship, I never had an actual proper conversation. It's really good that you've got a really nice asexual girl for you, you know? And I know that you appreciate her and you like those things. It seems to me a lot of the sexual guys that I talk to, they're just not interested in intelligent conversation. All they're interested in is sex, drinking, more sex, more drinking. And that's pretty much like the girl would always answer in 1 or 2 words. It was a pain in the rump. Yeah, I mean the problem. I mean the problem I see with sexual dating sites is like the sexual guys. They make no effort. They just go hi, and I'm like hi back. Do you know what I mean? Because you know what I mean. Like I talk a lot, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking to sexuals who are just using the same copy and paste stuff. So on sexual dating sites, like for example, mingle2.com that I'm on, they literally copy and paste the same thing over and over again. I don't know if I've got any examples because my phone's off at the moment. I don't know where it is. But I could say some of the they just use generic crap, excuse my language. Sam, 1, 2 word answers where they don't actually make any attempts to make any effort at all. Yeah. This is what sexuals are like usually. Like I find it like a lot of sexuals for me, they just like they use the same like chat up lines on Mingle too. It's like they've copy and pasted, you know. If a guy can't be bothered to even read my profile, a lot of them don't even read the profile. I mean, I had this guy who's 35 years old on Mingle contact me. He did live in the UK actually. He's cut his girlfriend out of the picture, his ex-girlfriend by the look of it, because you can see a woman's hand with a bit of boob. So it's like that's really off-putting. It's like if a guy can't even be asked to actually have a picture on his own, but that's the trouble with a lot of the guys on sexual dating sites. They can't be asked. It's like if you can't be asked, that just pretty much says everything about you, what you'll be like in a relationship. And pretty much that's what most of the guys seem to be like on these sexual dating groups on Facebook that I'm in. It's kind of like they go, you know, some of these guys are like, no one wants me. And I look at their picture and it's like when you've got a drink in your hand, you don't take any care of your personal appearance. And what have you got to offer? Do you know what I mean? And it's just like if they all they do is just like don't make an effort. If they don't make an effort to actually with their appearance, if they don't make an effort in their life, you know, a lot of them are just like, you know, just going on the pub at Sam. Oh, this sounds. I recognise what you say, Sam. Sam, if someone messaged me just hi, what's up? I just ignore them usually. Yeah, I mean, I sometimes respond to them, but it's a lot of the time it's better if I don't because it's just wasting time. Do you know what I mean? And so, Sam, I prefer if someone asks or say something to show they are genuinely interested. Yeah, they should be picking something out of your profile. But I mean, this guy on Mingle, who's 35 years old, I mean, he's not even foreign. I clearly say on my profile that I like foreign. Do you know what I mean? Let me see if I can get mingle2.com. Oh my lord, it's just I've blocked some of these people because I just got so fed up with it. But a lot of them, they're not even, you know, they just copy and paste rubbish. They stop speaking to me now. I don't get too many inboxes on here because a lot of them actually do bother to look at my profile. But it's like this. And this guy here, I thought if that's the only, like, straight away they ask you about WhatsApp as well, which is really bad. It's like, hi, Sandra, how are you? My name is blah, blah. You look lovely. I mean, it wasn't very difficult to, like, write that, was it, really? Do you know what I mean? And I put thanks. And he put, hi, do you have WhatsApp? And I put, no, I like younger foreign guys. You know? And it's like, every time I get a sexual guy interested in me, they always ask me for my WhatsApp. And it's like, while I was with Sam on the Skype, right, I had this guy from Asexuality, right, foreign guy in the UK, 26 years old, right, and I connected. He wasn't available to connect with on Facebook, apparently, right. So basically, he only had like a Skype message, right? And I caught him out because I'm gonna delete him off there soon. Because basically all he was interested in is like not being genuine, right? Because he's got on Asexuality, he had a profile that had a Kick account, a Discord account, and Skype account. Right? Nothing to do with Facebook, right? And I've said it before, I'll say it a million times if I need to. You need to check out their Facebook profile, right? Now, I'm going to delete him because I clearly caught him out because he's not bothered to speak to me. But basically, this guy's on asexuality. He didn't say what type of asexual he was, which is alarm bells already because you don't know that the guy's asexual. But he was in heteromantic asexual group. So you're assuming that he knows what heteromantic means. But some sexuals can think heteromantic just means they're a romantic guy, right? So anyway, so basically didn't say really much information apart from that he was foreign or Asian in the UK, Muslim, and 26 years old living in London. So I went over to his friend requested me. So it said, oh, can't message on here. So basically, connect with me on these methods, Kick, like I said, Skype or Discord, right? So I'm not on Discord, I'm not on Kick, I am on Skype. So I thought I'll add him Skype, right? So this is how the conversation went. Hi, I saw you on Asexuality. You sent me a friend request there. Hi there, hope you are good. Yes, I saw your profile. I hope you don't mind me adding you. Right? And then he said, how are you doing? He said his name, he's 26 and he lives in the UK. Your profile seemed really good and you seemed knowledgeable, so I added you. And I said, thanks. Were you interested in me romantically or just for the work I do for asexuals? Oh, I guess the answer to that would be both. Also surprised you're awake at this hour. Ha ha. Oh, that's great. You're interested in me romantically too. Actually, I work until 4 a.m. and sleep until midday, but I'm talking to my best asexual friend on Skype and just saw your message come up. And he's like, okay, that makes sense. Does your best asexual friend live in the UK too? I hope I'm not keeping you up. It's like, why would he be keeping me up when I'm already talking to my best asexual friend? Which I was talking to Sam. And they're like, yes, they do, about 200 miles away, but they travel to see me. But best get back to talking to them. And they're like, oh, cool. I'm British Pakistani, by the way. Hope that is okay. And I'm like, oh, that is good. What's your Facebook address? As I'm usually on there. As I'm there on there more usually. You see, I was asking for their Facebook address. Unfortunately, I don't use Facebook, which I thought is what I was going to say, because people that are in hiding, because he did say that he's not using his real name on Skype. People that are in hiding their identity and who they truly are, they will say they haven't got a Facebook, because on Facebook, you can see everything they're up to. You can see if they're highly sexual. You can see what sexual stuff they've written, what pictures are sexual. You can see their real identity, and obviously they're not going to want you to know it. They're not going to present Facebook. So I was waiting for it. And then Eddie, I have to finish dinner. Have a great night. Okay, Eddie, lots of love to you. Have a good time. So basically, I said, and then he said, unfortunately, I don't use Facebook. I use Kick. And I said, everyone uses Facebook. And listen to this. I did used to have an account, but I deleted it a while ago. I could look into reactivating or something, though, which is rubbish, right? This guy's clearly got a Facebook account. He just didn't want me to know it, right? So I said, yes, please. I like to be able to see a person's history also, as it's important for safety on the internet. Yes, of course, that makes perfect sense. Forgive me. I'm a bit new to all this. See? Do you see what I mean? Of course he has a Facebook account. And he stops talking to me after that. And then I said to him, what's your real name? And do you have a photograph? And he's not bothered to answer me. And he's seen it. So this guy is another faker. He's another faker. He's another guy that's come on thinking that some person on asexuality is just going to speak to him. I don't even know he's asexual. He's got nothing much in his profile. Yes, he's like 3 groups, but that means nothing a lot of the time, you know? And this person clearly doesn't want his real identity to be revealed to me. What does that say about him? How can you possibly get into a relationship with someone like that? How can you possibly even date a guy like that? You can't, because he's in hiding. And there are a lot of these people like this. So this is another problem we have for this is another problem we have in the asexual communities. There's a lot of fakers, a lot of scammers, and there's people who are not out about being asexual, but there's people that are not even really asexual. This guy wouldn't, this guy, when he's saying, forgive me, I'm a bit new to all of this, he doesn't even sound like he's 26 to me. To me, most of the 26-year-old guys I know do not speak like that. They don't use the word forgive me, I'm a bit new to all this. That's not what a young guy in his 20s would usually say. Do you know what I mean? It's not the type of language they would usually use. So I know you can't see a profile pic of this guy. There's no profile pic on Asexualistic. And on here, it's like he's got a guy blasting off into space on here in a space outfit, like far away. So you can't even see who he is. So he's just basically trying to get, people off the internet, right? You do not want to get into a relationship or dating someone that cannot be their true, authentic self of you and cannot show you their Facebook profile and be open, honest, and want to connect on there. Because that's just a really bad guy who does that. It's basically saying, that I've got stuff to hide. And if they've got stuff to hide, that's not the basis for a loving, happy, healthy, committed relationship. It's just rubbish. So don't waste your time with these people unless you just want to literally hook up with them despite being asexual. Do you know what I mean? It's like in clubs, I will kiss guys, but I know now that it's not really going to lead anywhere. Because it's like, I'm asexual, they're sexual, usually highly sexual, and so therefore it's not going to go anywhere, I might be lucky one day, I might come across a guy that actually is asexual on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum, will just out this mates for the night and just happen to bump into me. Or there might be a sexual person that just happens to not need sex. It could happen. That's why it's important to get out there and keep trying and not give up, But this is a lot of the reason why it's so difficult for romantic asexuals, particularly, to be in this sexualized world and to try and find a relationship. It's just very, very difficult. It's not impossible, but it's very, very highly difficult, There's a lot of obstacles and challenges we have to overcome, But I was going to read out, wasn't I, on Mingle, some of the rubbish, sort of chat lines they come out with. That's the one I told you about WhatsApp, which is absolutely ridiculous. But it's like this guy has got the username of Gerbil 117. I mean, how can you take someone like that seriously? But obviously, asexuals can have pet names for themselves as well. But this guy hasn't even got a photograph, right? And this person has I get message from blooming people in other countries that haven't read my profile because I say I need a guy in the UK, and this person goes hi 22 hours ago, so I said nothing, and then 15 hours ago it's like, how are you? And I said nothing because it's like, you can't even read my profile, mate, and so they just like this guy, hello pretty, and he's got he's sucking on a water bottle and got a construction hat on. It's like, what I mean? It's like, that was really original, wasn't it? It really showed that you really like talking to me when you just, make up rubbish. So this guy, right? This is a guy who lives in another country, right? And Morocco, right? And he was just, again, this is some of the things. So he put, hello, I'm such and such a person from Morocco. I would like to know you if possible, with a heart and a little heart. I'm looking for a guy already in the UK, so no thanks, right? I've told him exactly, I'm looking for a guy already in the UK, no thanks, right? Which said to my profile, he's like, why I can come to UK? I hear this all the time. It's rubbish. For most guys who are on these dating sites or in groups, they can't come to UK because they have no intention of coming to UK unless you'll marry them for a visa, right? That's all they're interested in, a lot of them. Sadly, the guys who are genuine will do whatever it takes to come over here of their own accord. They'll already have family over here, genuine family. Do not fall for the fact I've got aunts and uncles over there, but I want you to help me get into the country. They've got family in your country. It's up to the family to help them get in, not you, right? Do not fall for that scam. I've been scammed by I haven't been scammed, but someone tried, even a blogger friend, female, tried to scam me that way, tried to say, oh, I've got people in London, but I need you to tell me how much is in your bank account. It's like, are you insane? So they can get into my country. I'm like, no, get lost, basically. I don't do that type of thing. So do not fall for these scams, right? So I put why I can come to UK. I said, I hate sex. I don't want marriage. and I don't want kids or to live with someone, so no. And he's like, I understand you, we can be friends. I put, I'm looking for a relationship. And he's like, so what? I say to you, I'm looking for serious relationship too. Really, I'm not sexy boy, trust me. And that was it. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like you can't even be bothered. And then this guy, right? He's just messaged me while I'm here. Hello. He can't even pronounce hello. Hello. How are you doing over there, beautiful woman? It's like, well, yeah, I'm beautiful, but at the end of the day, you know, I do actually have a name on my profile, and you can't even be asked to speak my name. Do you know what I mean? And this is like, and this guy doesn't even live in the UK, and he's 43, tattooed. He's really not my type. You know, and it's just like, do you know what I mean? It's just like they can't even be bothered. A lot of them can't even bother to have proper conversations. You know, this guy, hi, hello. It's like, and he's one that's got a puppy, so you feel sorry. In the picture of him with this puppy, he looks quite good looking, right? Then you flick through his other picture, and he's got all this facial hair, and he just looks like a different person. Even his nose looks like a different shape. And on this dating site, this mingle2.com, I found a guy who had a really older picture on there, like 45 years old, with like tattoos up his arm. Then the next day he turned into this guy who's about 27 years old and really good looking. And I'm like, usually it's the opposite way around. Usually they have pictures of someone else, but it was clearly a different person, so they're just fake. So there's so many fakers, sadly, you know. And then it's this person again, hi beautiful. It's like, you know, it's like that's just not original. Do you know what I mean? It's just not original, you know. And this guy's put, how are you? Can I get to know you? And I put, not interested, you know? It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just all the same rubbish. They just, a lot of them don't check your profile out. It's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So you've got all this type of problems. And then a lot of the asexuals I find, they don't actually message you back. Or if they do, it's very short-lived, you know? And so it's like, you know, and a lot of us live far apart, you know, so it's kind of like we think about more being in relationships with sexuals because, you know, we're surrounded by sexuals at the end of the day, you know, but it's very, very difficult when you require or want that really close physical contact with someone, yet you don't want the sex. It's very, very hard, you know, for romantics who really crave that. It's very, very difficult for us, and these are some of the struggles that we really go through. And I feel for every romantic asexual out there that's really struggling, you know, because a lot of sexuals can't live without sex. It's just the way they're built and made up, just like we're built and made up not to have sex. So it's really better if we can find an asexual person. But because we're only a recorded 1% of the population, and many people are hiding about their, you know, their asexuality, they're not open and honest about it, or don't even know they're asexual. That's what poses a lot more problems for us as well. So, you know, but there's been some people like my friend Ralph. He was in the chat only a few days ago, and he has a fiance. They're both asexual, him and his fiance, so they're going to be getting married. And then my friend John, he's married to a beautiful asexual woman, and they live together now. So there is a lot of hope, and I don't want you to give up hope. But at the same time, you know, I want you to take care of yourself and love yourself, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing at the moment. If we can't be with someone who loves us for us, who we are, then we need to love the one we're with, which is ourselves. Obviously, we can still love our friends because they're awesome and amazing, incredible. And it's good that we've got friends, because at least we've got some contacts, you know what I mean? Some warmth, even if it's not of the physical capacity. At least we've got some warmth, some kindness, you know. It's really, really beautiful. So, you know, friendship is very, very valuable. I mean, I value friendship more than ever these days, you know, because I realise that a lot of the romantic relationships, you know, don't last that long, sadly. They really, really don't. And so as much as I would like to be in a romantic relationship, you know, there is the side that's not so good. The side that when you get with someone, is it actually going to last? Because a lot of people aren't that committed. And that's another thing, you know, I think if you do want to get into a relationship, you both have to be committed, right? There's a video I watched tonight, which I've watched before, a similar one, but it's by a dating coach. And he's a really honest guy. And he's a really nice person. He's married now, but he talks about his past and the bad things about himself. And he talks about the emotionally available, unavailable guy. And he said there's a lot of guys out there like this. And he wanted to tell us that watch his channel and be honest with us that he used to be that type of guy. And what this means is, God, I think I'm going to lose my voice, so I need to put more water in. So I can't talk when I'm like this. I need water. I think my voice needs to rest then. But water, 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 it'll be fine. Water, water. All right. So that's better now. So yeah, so basically, yeah, this person, dating coach, traditional dating coach, but he does know I'm asexual and is nice about it, so that's good. You know, he admits what he used to be like in the past. And because he knows what he used to be like in the past as a guy, then he does help women a lot by saying, you know, like, this is what I was like, be careful of these guys. And this is the type of guy that's called the emotionally available, unavailable guy. So, and he said he was one of these guys. So he's there emotionally for women. He used to have really deep conversations with them, be very emotionally connected to them quite a bit, but he wasn't actually available for a committed long-term relationship. And he used to get into relationships with women, and they used to think because he'd made plans for even in a few months' time, so obviously that meant that he wanted to be in the relationship and stay in it because he was making plans for the future. And making plans for the future is a huge sign that the person wants to be in a relationship. But he said he wasn't. He was always on the fence, thinking, do I want to be with this person? Do I not? I'm on the fence. I don't know. So it took him a long time before he finally found someone he wanted to be committed to. And he said, you know, it wasn't the women, it was just the way he was. And he was basically available for them emotionally. And he was one of the most emotionally available men that was around at that time, you know, and that he could really connect to them. He could listen to them, have deep, meaningful conversations, really be there for them emotionally, have actual emotional connection with them. But it came to actually wanting to be in a serious committed relationship just with that one person. He couldn't do it. He couldn't see himself being like that. He was always on the fence and couldn't say, yes, I can do that. And he said that he had to work through a lot of his own issues on that because he had problems with making decisions and being committed to things. He says, so you have to look at as that person in their life committed to other stuff. Has their relationships been very infrequent or brief? Or have they personally actually, you know, committed to a relationship in the past for a long period of time? Have they committed to other things? You know, hobbies, interests, and work and stuff. Have they made commitments? Have they made decisions in their life? Because he was indecisive and non-committal to other things, and that was a big sign that he was like that. But a lot of the time, the women choose to ignore it because they didn't want their heart broken, so they didn't want to ask him the question. Well, are you actually in this for long haul, or is it just temporary? So then you should be asking that question really early on, because you need to know. It's better to know sooner rather than later if this person's going to want to actually serious long-term commit relationship, or it's just going to be for a short term. Because he said in his experience with women, the women usually, the more physical you get with a woman, the more they want commitment. The physicality usually goes to commitment, whereas a lot of guys, they just tend to have the physical stuff and they don't need the commitment component. So they can be physical with a woman, they can be in a relationship for a while, and then they can just split up, and it's, you know, it doesn't really mean that much. It's like, well, I'm moving on now. It wasn't right. I'm not going to commit. You know, I'm going to carry on looking for someone else, basically, until they get the right person. But it's always kind of like he was always thinking, oh, maybe this is the next right person. This is the next right person. So he's non-committal, you know. And so you can get these guys. I have come across one of these people who's asexual, who's an emotionally available, unavailable guy. And it's very difficult when you meet that guy, you know, because you believe that they really like you, and they are attracted to you, and they do find you attractive, and they do potentially want to be in a relationship with you, and they're there for you really deeply and emotionally, and you share secrets and everything, yet they're non-committal. But if they can admit that, that's good, and save you heartache and pain. That person admitted to me. They didn't say they're emotionally available, unavailable guy, but they just said that they weren't, you know, they basically agreed they weren't, you know, into having a committed relationship specifically with me and some other people. So yeah, so you know, I'm glad they told me that, because they've saved me a lot of heartache and pain. Do you know what I mean? Even though it's difficult at the time. So I do agree with this dating coach that, you know, it's very, very important to have these open, honest conversations early on in life. in the relationship and ask the person, where it's going. Don't assume just because someone's got with you that they're going to be in a long-term committed relationship. And to be in a long-term committed relationship, you've really got to figure the person out. Really, you've got to be friends with that person for a very long time, because you don't really know the person. People can change, people can be different around different social situations, different people, and you can think you know someone, and then all of a sudden they get with a group of people, you see them in a group of people, and you realize that isn't the person that I actually speak to, that I like. This is just some totally different person. So you've got to be very, very aware of these things, and you've got to try and use your common sense more than your head. But obviously when you're feeling really romantic, then romantic things can get in the way, and you can kind of idolize what you want that person to be, which I mentioned in a previous video, rather than what they actually are. So I think it's important to even if it's temporary pain and temporary upset, it's better to have that in the early stages than it is to actually go through with a full relationship with them, with you wanting a relationship and then really not investing that way in it. So do be careful, don't give up. But know that, you're not alone in your struggles. If you're a romantic asexual, you're not alone. I have done video before on aromantic struggles, and that's a really popular video. It's one of my most popular videos I've ever done. And tonight I just wanted to touch on, more on romantic struggles, because I think it's really important, especially like I said at the beginning of this video, that romance is usually always intertwined with sex. And I think that's why it's even more difficult for asexuals. Like if someone wants a platonic relationship, a sexual kind of would know a platonic relationship means more of a friendship type of relationship, even though to asexuals doesn't exactly mean that, because it means that they want someone to be in a relationship with them sometimes who's exclusive, monogamous, but actually not with sex and romance. But the sexuals can kind of understand the word platonic. But if you say I want a romantic relationship without sex, they kind of some of them don't really understand that. Sam, I shan't give up. I will find a lovely guy to get cuddles again. Yeah, you find a lovely guy for you, Sam. You deserve it. You deserve it. I definitely think you need a guy as well, to be honest, because I know that you like the physicality, because I know you're attracted to both guys and girls, but I think for physicality stuff you need a guy, really. And also, if you do like kissing guys, don't you, a bit? So I think, you've got to look long term and say, could I be with this person forever? In all ways, physical ways, mental ways, intelligent ways, hobbies ways. There's a lot to think about when getting into a relationship. There's a lot to consider, because the person's not going to be identical carbon copy of you, and the person's not going to have necessarily all the same hobbies and interests. But you've got to have complementary hobbies and interests, things that that complement each other, or things that you can understand and talk about. Yeah, I definitely prefer guys romantically, says Sam. Yeah, it's really important that you know that. It's really important. It's really, really important, because you do definitely prefer guys. I know every time I talk to you, we talk about guys. I love it though, because I like guys too, so it's great. We fancy the same guys quite a lot. But yeah, it's really, really cool. And I do think you prefer guys romantically. I'd like to see a guy with you, cuddling you. And I think you'd like a little bit of kissing as well, I think it'd be good for you. And I really wish for you to find a beautiful guy for you, because you've got a beautiful soul and you deserve it, You really deserve a beautiful guy for you, All asexuals deserve a beautiful person for them, And I really hope that everyone who is struggling right now knows that they're not alone. Sam, I want someone who has interests and hobbies and passions that I can find out about and learn about. I can't deal with boring people romantically. Yeah, I'm like you, Sam. I am the same as you on that. I need to have someone who's got exactly that, hobbies and passions that you can find more about and learn from. I get bored easily as it is. If I was in a relationship with someone who was just doing boring stuff, I would just be very bored, and the relationship would be it's not really going anywhere. Not because I don't want to, but not because I don't like them romantically, but just because I would be, it wouldn't be enough to stimulate me, and I'd feel like I'd feel like I couldn't be with a person for the rest of my life who didn't intelligently stimulate me, So that's kind of a big deal. So you have the same, problem as me in that way, is that, if they're boring, you know, it's like you can't spend the rest of your life with someone who's boring. Do you know what I mean? He's not got the same hobbies, interests, or like complementary ones, like you say. You've got to have hobbies and passions that you can find out more about and learn from, and that and that actually you believe in them. It's like obviously we're just friends, but I believe in your space era. Do you know what I mean? I'm really rooting for you on that. I think you're really, really a highly intelligent person who's very, very skilled. I mean, your skills are off the Richter scale. Do you know what I mean? With the models you build and the stuff you do, it's just incredible intelligence. Incredible intelligence. Do you know what I mean? So you need someone who takes an interest in that. It's very important for you. Someone support you in it because it's very important work you're doing. I really believe that, and I really, really believe you're hugely talented, very, very skilled. Very skilled, that people don't have those skills, and I like that. That's the thing I get attracted to autistic guys quite a lot, because they tend to be really good at projects and things, and like they tend to have really specialist skills. Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, I get creative attraction as well. People who are really creative, I get attracted to. Intelligence attraction. Sam, I'm the same with all that you do as well. You are a very inspiring person who follows your dreams and passions. Thank you. Thank you. I do like the fact we support each other. It's really, really lovely. Like it really motivates me. I find, like, you know what I mean? Like I kind of message you every so often, say I've done this now, I'm doing this now, and I just like it. It's kind of like I hold myself accountable to holding myself accountable with you, if you know what I mean. So it just feels absolutely wonderful. It's like I feel like I feel like you're my accountability partner, as in getting work done without putting any pressure on me. Do you know what I mean? So that's good. But yeah, oh, that's really nice. Very inspiring person who follows your dreams and passions. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's really nice. Yeah, really nice. And I just like it because I know now I've got, I message you every so often, tell you what I'm doing. And even though you don't exactly know exactly what I'm doing, you always try and understand what I'm doing anyway. Do you know what I mean? I think that's very important. Even if obviously we're best friends, which is super important, not romantic partner or friend, friends, we're just best friends. But it's all the same, it's very, very nice, like, if you can get someone in a romantic relationship as well to actually take an interest in what you do, even if it's different. Do you know what I'm saying? Even if the person doesn't totally understand what you're doing. Like, I don't understand totally what Sam's doing. I'm trying to bit by bit understand, or at least get a general flavour for what they're doing. Sometimes it's harder for me to understand because I'm not very scientifically or mathematically minded. Well, I'm probably a little bit more scientifically actually, but not mathematically minded. But I like looking at Sam's got a little group now for their space era, and I like looking at the spaceships. Like, I like looking at the aesthetics on it, I guess. And I love hearing about like everything they're doing. They're so like into it, and it just feels awesome to have that energy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're very, very, there's a very creative energy, and I think for me in a romantic relationship as well, I need a creative energy. I need that energy, because when you get that creative energy, it's kind of like makes you energized. I don't want someone in a relationship where I'm just going to be having someone who's not got that sort of energy level, because I'd feel like I was coming home, like maybe I was visiting them because I want to live separately, and they were just sat there watching TV or playing video games, and I'd be like, is that it? And I'd feel myself, like, being around that type of person for me would kind of pull my energy down, and it would kind of drag it down, and it would kind of like make it really small and insignificant more. It make me feel like I'm really, really energized, but I'm coming home to someone who's not energized and not really living the life to the fullest and not really living their purpose and passion, and therefore there's not that energy and that vibrancy. Sam, I'm also building a Wikipedia for it. Oh yeah, you are. It's amazing. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And so, I just think it's so important to have that energy. Do you know what I mean? Like, when me and you are talking as friends on Skype, I just feel like we're both very energetic, passionate people about what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? I feel the energy, like me, you, energy, even though we're in the early hours of the morning, knackered sometimes because we're so tired. It's kind of like, it's an energetic tiredness. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people are tired and they're like, I'm really tired. me and you are tired, and we're like, I'm really tired, but it's kind of like a big, loud, energetic tiredness. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it, but it's really awesome. I love talking to you. It's really incredible. And that's the kind of energy I really need. That kind of energy in a relationship. Like, I don't expect the guy to be as energetic as me all the time. And there'll be times when I'm probably not so energetic, but it happens in a relationship, because obviously a relationship will pretty much seeing you or talking to each other every single day, so it's a bit different. But there needs to be a certain level of energy and vibrancy, because if you're with a person who's not like that, it can drag you down and make you unenergized yourself indirectly, like, because you're not having that vibrancy around you. If you're constantly with a person a lot of the time and they've not got that energy, their unenergetic aura will kind of rub off on you if you're not careful. So you've got to be very, very careful about that, And I come across so many people that are just not really that interesting to me, in terms of like on dating sites, particularly sexual dating sites. It's like, you're really not talking to me about anything. There's just nothing there. Maybe they are doing stuff, but they just don't talk to me about it. I don't know. But I just I love life, and I like being in life, like not watching TV, but being in this life. Like, years ago I didn't like being in life because I didn't like being in reality, but you can create your own reality. You can live in your own world within this world, which is what I do. So it's kind of like I'm fine, because I'm living in my own world of quirky within this world. So it's kind of like I've got my own bubble in it. It's kind of like it doesn't really affect me that much like it used to years ago, because it's like, well, I can still be myself and still be in my own world of quirky, just within the bigger sphere, but I've got my own little sphere within it. And so it's all good. And so I just I just totally understand, Sam, when you're saying you can't deal with boring people romantically. It's just like, it's like you need some inspiration there, don't you? You need some oomph, some energy, some vibrancy, some interesting. I need intellectual stimulation. There's people who are sexually attracted to other people by the intelligence. They're called sapiosexuals. And you can equally get that with asexuals. Instead of it being sapiosexual, it's sapio-asexual, where you can get intelligence attraction. And I have intelligence attraction, I have creative attraction. So if a guy is very, very aesthetically good looking, particularly foreign, if he's very, very romantic, and if he's doing something creative and really intelligent as well, like building a website. For me, a guy building a website with code, that hits both the creative and intelligent buttons to me, like in one. So if he's doing something like that, I'm very, very attracted to him, and I have stuff to talk about. He can talk to me about website design, which is kind of crazy, because most females don't want to be sat of an evening talking about website design. But I love that. I want to hear about the guy creating apps for social media. I want to hear about the guy creating websites. I want to hear about him being creative in that way with social media marketing. I'm into all that stuff. I find it fascinating, because I like doing that type of stuff myself. So, I just love that type of stuff. I'm a very business girl, but I love talking about business in not just in a business sense, but talking about business in general life, because my business stuff is really my life, and I get a buzz out of it. So I think it's very, very important that you are actually talking to someone who's very, very compatible with you in that way, because you can't have a long sustaining, fulfilling relationship if you're just going to be bored by what the other person's talking to you about. Or bored by the fact they don't do much. There has to be something going for them, both on both sides, really. Obviously, you need to be doing stuff yourself as well, to keep the relationship. And obviously, you've got to manage the intimacy side as well really well, like see what they need and what you need as well. With me, I have strong kissing needs, that's a lot of time I need to kiss. I can't be kissing all the time, but I mean, if I didn't live with a guy, then potentially, like, I'll be like 2, 3, up to 4 days of kissing. Rest I'll be doing my work. But yeah, I kind of like will need to do my work, because I get very frustrated and a bit like behind if I don't get my work done. So I'll have to, hopefully in the future, when I do meet the right guy, I'll be like kind of like all my life will be like a lot more smoother. But then knowing me, it probably won't, because I know what I'm gonna like, I like kind of the zany, wacky, extrovert, quirky life with introverted tendencies. I don't like 2 days the same sometimes, but I would like to be a bit more settled in my business work, so I kind of like know what I'm doing, but I kind of get a bit bored with routine as well. I kind of like changing things up, which is kind of not always a good thing. It's kind of good to be able to do things at set ways that then you know that that's what you've got to do, and then the rest of the time you can be free. But then kind of like my free time, I'm usually blogging and doing stuff that I would usually do for business anyways. It's kind of like all intermingles. Very, very interesting. But yeah, I think it's very important, like Sam says, to get someone who's interesting. So I think romantic relationships and relationships in general are very complex. There's a lot of components to them. You've got to also get on with them family. I mean, for me, I like younger guys. The younger guy's got to be prepared to tell his family that he's with an older girl, and be fine about it, and be fine about someone being publicly asexual. That's a huge hurdle that I've got to overcome. Well, it's not really my hurdle as such, but it's like kind of a hurdle probably the other person will have to come, or the other person would just have to be cool with it, be openly asexual themselves, or think, oh right, I've met the girl of my dreams now. Didn't want to say I was asexual before because there's no point because I didn't have a partner, but now I've got Sandra, then there's no reason not to say it because I want to spend the rest of my life with her. So, she said she's committed to me, so it's all good. There's nothing to lose, is there? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I've got her backup. Do you know what I mean? So, I think it's really important to get the right person for you in multiple aspects of your life. It's important to get on with the person's family. I usually wouldn't say that. I usually wouldn't care. But in my experience, my past experience with the type of people that have got like overprotective mothers, like I don't want a guy again who's got an overprotective mother who's the mother's more like his girlfriend. I can't be doing with a mummy's boy like that. It's ridiculous. I don't want a guy like that. You end up having a relationship with him and his mother, and it's not a very pleasant one because she's always usually fighting for his attention. It's honestly like having another girlfriend. It's like they're having an affair or something. It's ridiculous. Prefer to be with the guy who gets on okay with his mum, but he doesn't like need to be speaking to her every 5 minutes of the day, or and has his own life, and she respects that, and she's not in his pocket all the time telling him what to do and who to see and what girlfriend to have, and acting like his girlfriend, going out with him drinking or whatever, and smoking or whatever they're doing together. And it's just like crazy. I think crazy, but that's my personal opinion anyway. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the chat. It's been an interesting discussion, I think. And I totally agree with Sam. When you are dating, looking for a relationship, you've got to have someone who genuinely shows an interest with you and keeps and maintains and sustains that interest over a very, very long period of time. It's all very well for someone to show up a few messages, but unless they can be consistent and persistent, like months, years to come, they're not meant to be for you. And I find that's a lot of the time. A lot of people drop off. The people that really want to be in life will stay in your life forever, and the people that don't won't. And those people you just have to let go, But yes, anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Thanks so much to Eddie, who was in the chat earlier, and of course my best friend Sam. Absolutely love you, my best friend, you know that. And I love what you have to say. I know we think the same on quite a few things, and it's wonderful to have your support as always. I think it's very important, even in the relationship terms as well, that you get someone who's like-minded and has a lot of similar morals, beliefs and values as you as well. It's very, very important when you're looking for a romantic relationship or other relationship as well. Really important. I'll see you for now. See you soon. I'll see you on Saturday. Woohoo! It's Wednesday already. Anyway, take care. Lots of love to you, Sam, for being my best friend, and lots of love to the other person that's been watching all this way through. Really appreciate it, and to anyone else who's watching, thanks for the thumbs up. If you haven't already given this a thumbs up, please give it a thumbs up. Hit the bell icon to get notified every time I go live like now, post a new video, and I'll see you on the next video or live stream. Take care. Bye.